Most people who tithe faithfully believe the church is using that money to help people. I believe that too for 15 years. But the church told me something one day that I will never forget. They said, "We run this like a business now." And everything I had given, everything I had sacrificed, it all made sense in the worst possible way. If you have ever been faithful to a church and then turned around and needed help, this video is for you. I'm not here to tell you that giving is wrong, but I am here to tell you what I lived through after 15 years of faithful giving and what the church told me directly when I finally needed something back. Because right now, there are people sitting in churches every Sunday, putting money they cannot afford into an offering plate, while leadership decides who deserves to benefit from it and who doesn't. A church that takes your money, diminishes your need, and rewards its favorites has stopped functioning as the body of Christ, and you are not obligated to keep funding it. The day a church leader looked me in the eye and said, "We run this like a business now," everything finally made sense. When a church becomes a business, the congregation becomes a customer base. The goal shifts from serving people to protecting the bottom line. Hear me, family. I walked into that office after 15 years of faithful giving and asked for help to go back to school. They offered me $200. Not because they didn't have the money. I had watched that same church pay full tuitions and hand out scholarships that covered years of school. But those people were connected to the right families and the right circles, the cliques. I wasn't. The $200 said everything they wouldn't say out loud. Financial responsibility and favoritism are two very different things. A church that manages money well serves the whole congregation. A church that manages money for the inner circle has stopped being a church. Most churches teach tithing as a spiritual obligation. Give 10% and God will honor it. What they don't teach you is where that money actually goes once it hits the plate. I believe my giving was going toward helping people in need. What I found out was it was going toward helping people they favored. The people who benefited most were already connected to leadership, their families, their friends, and their circle, and many of them weren't really in financial need. If you were in that group, the church showed up for you. If you weren't, you got a number that felt more like a dismissal than help. Nobody announces from the pulpit who got a scholarship and who got turned away. You are expecting to give openly and you trust blindly. But blind trust without accountability is not faith. It's folly. You cannot keep telling people to give sacrificially while deciding behind closed doors who deserves to benefit. That's not ministry. That is control. I gave to that church before I paid my own bills. I believe if I put God first financially in that respect, everything else would follow. I learned better. I held on to that belief even when my own needs were going unmet. But there is a big difference between giving willfully from your heart and giving out of guilt because someone told you that you had to in order to be blessed by God. The modern tithing model in many churches is built on pressure and not biblical principles. Week after week, the message is the same: give or risk being out of God's will. But nobody factors in whether your rent is paid, whether your children have what they need, whether you are one emergency away from a crisis. Give what you can, when you can, from a place of genuine choice. Because a God who loves you does not need you to go without so that church leadership can decide who gets helped and who doesn't. If a church makes you feel guilty for taking care of your family first, that guilt is not coming from God. Your family is your first ministry. No offering plate is more important than the people sitting at your kitchen table. A church that truly serves God serves all its people, not just the ones it likes or can benefit from. And if yours isn't doing that, you are allowed to leave. If this spoke to you, share it, like it, and leave a thoughtful comment below so we can keep this conversation going. I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. Because family still matters, and so does every dollar you sacrifice believing someone would be there when you needed them most. Thank you so much for watching, and I will leave you with this word from 1 Timothy 5:8. Anyone who does not provide for their own household has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Take care of your family first. God never asked you to do otherwise. May God continue to richly bless you. God bless.